Cubs fans, Bears fans, we're all in the same boat. Which guy are you more excited about or confident in building your franchise? Is it Jed Hoyer or is it Ryan Poles? Both guys could be considered on the hot seat right now, and both guys you consider have made some pretty good moves at sometimes, right? And then some duds. They both have a track record that shows you they swing and miss, and then they also hit home runs.
As the most pessimistic Bears fan, and that's all Bears fans are pretty pessimistic because over the last 15 years of my life, they have one playoff appearance and not won one playoff game over the last 15 years of my life, right? So I think we're all pessimistic, but I'm saying that I am more pessimistic about the Bears than any other team in the city that I like. I would say that Ryan Poles has done a better job at building the team than Jed Hoyer has at building the Cubs, because at least there's still a higher ceiling with the Bears because it looks like they got the quarterback right. They have decent weapons. Now they got to get the offensive line right. I would say that Ryan Poles in his maneuvering of trying to build an offensive line is like Jed Hoyer trying to build the bullpen.
Oh, that's a good parallel there.
So to me, there's a higher ceiling with the Bears' future in the next 5 years still than there is with the Cubs. But the Bears are so incompetent and so dysfunctional from the top down that I still feel like from that perspective, the Cubs have a better future over the next 5 years than the Bears.
Yeah.
I would love to be proven wrong in some aspect that maybe both teams will figure it out over the next 5 years, but we're talking about history here in terms of what I've seen with the Bears organization. There's a lot of dysfunction there. At least with the Cubs, you basically know what you're going to get because Jed Hoyer's been within the organization for the last 10 plus years. Ricketts is the owner. We've seen them spend money before. We've seen them.
But it's not which organization do you trust more. Do you trust Poles, Ryan?
Yeah.
Well, I mentioned
Poles.
ownership because in baseball, ownership plays a big part in spending money.
It is.
All right.
It
so
is.
I'm just saying, like, I think there's
Pizza
a lot
Pollo's
of comparisons.
a new diehard
Now,
member.
I was about to say,
We should have some sound effects
say
for that.
Pizza Pollo?
Give them a nice
Pizza Pollo.
air horn
Pizza
sign.
Pollo.
It's Pollo.
Give them a nice air
Chicken
horn
logo right
sign.
there.
Anyway, sorry for interrupting you.
I'm sorry. You're sorry.
I don't know. I don't know who to pick between the two, honestly, because they feel like different GMs. Well, I guess technically, Jed Hoyer is president. Heads of the front office. Because I feel like Jed Hoyer has done, like, just comparing it off the top of my head, it feels like Jed Hoyer has done a better job at the more marginal pickups, and not even like specifically marginal, but like more middle tier type stuff. Like Jameson Tyone turned out to be a pretty good pickup so far. Shota Imanaga turned out to be a really good pickup this year, but like those weren't guys super high on anyone's like free agent radar before the Cubs got them, right? Like everyone was thinking bigger. Everyone was thinking bigger than both those guys, and the Cubs ended up with the guys at a level lower than them, but have both turned out to be pretty well. I would say Ryan Poles, I think the main thing I look at is like Jed Hoyer's, when we're talking about that and going in the more middle tier of free agents, because he's more risk averse than not, right? We've seen that. Mm-hmm. Ryan Poles feels less risk averse. He feels more willing to take bigger swings. You talk about the DJ Moore trade, right? Some of the bigger defensive guys that the Montez Sweat trade. Some of the guys like Tremaine Edmonds, he was a little higher. I don't know where he kind of ranked on like as far as defenders or whatever during free agency, but I felt like he was willing to go after more bigger names, at least player wise, and that's a trait that just feels a little differently than Jed Hoyer. I don't know which is the better route to get down, because clearly the Bears are a bad team and the Cubs haven't won more than 83 games since, I don't know, 2019. So
84 that year.
Yeah, right. So they haven't won more than 83 games in 5 years. So I don't know which is the right route to go down between what Jed Hoyer is doing or what Ryan Poles is doing with the Bears. But to be honest, neither has translated to winning playoff teams. So For me, it's still kind of a wait and see until one of them actually does it, and then you're like, okay.
I would say the Bears are terrible at getting the right coaching staff in, while the Cubs have done due diligence at getting that correct. Because I think
Cubs been better at hiring managers / coaches.
And it's not even just Craig Counsell. Like Tommy Hotovy has been here for a long time. We like him as the hitting or the pitching coach. They brought in a guy from the Dodgers as the hitting coach, Dustin Kelly. They've hired all these other dudes, the pitching guy from, the Rays this offseason. Like, they're trying to bring in guys who are highly touted from a coaching / scouting perspective. While the Bears, they lucked into Caleb Williams because of the DJ Moore trade, which credit to Ryan Poles on that. That in the long term, that could turn out to be one of the biggest fleece jobs in NFL history.
Maybe the Cubs lucked into Shota Imanaga if he was trying to sell himself to them.
We'll see what he does in year 2. But, like, the Bears, again, from behind the scenes, from the top, they're significantly worse than the Cubs at that. And, like, that to me, that's not – I guess that doesn't have a lot to do with Jed Hoyer or Ryan Poles. I think Ryan Poles is a good GM, but sure, yeah, like just like all GMs, he has screw-ups too. So
I don't know.
Poles has some big swing and misses too. The trade with the Steelers for the crazy wide receiver from Notre Dame. Claypool. Like that, a huge swing and miss.
Nate Davis.
The idea of giving the number 1 pick, the franchise quarterback, no offensive line, it was nice to give him weapons, but it turns out giving him an offensive line was a better deal. I do wish that Poles had a little bit of Jed Hoyer. And I definitely wish Hoyer had a little bit of the swing and miss sometimes,
like or willingness to swing
to swing for the fences that Poles does. He's not afraid.
Mesh them together.
Mesh them together. Maybe we have somebody that can lead somebody in this town to a win.
We all silly like the mayor.